I studied in 3 different schools in Kazakhstan. I started with the school in the most depressive district of the Karaganda, and I graduated from the top school in Karaganda. And then, after a while, when I attended school graduates reunion, I realized that the graduates of the same school, they pursue almost the same career path, they achieve almost the same level of education, and they even live at the same cities. That's how I came to my research question. That sounds as how state educational policy affects social inequality in the country. And before going to the education sphere, I would like to provide some information on gaps, on regional gaps that exist. Despite the fact that Gini index is improving over the years in Kazakhstan, we observe huge regional gaps. For instance, the difference between the most advanced and less advanced regions, they are 5 times. For instance, if we take Astana and southern Kazakhstan region, the share of population in southern Kazakhstan, 5 times more, live below the poverty line if we compare with the Astana or Almaty. And now to the education. I picked just Nazarbayev intellectual schools that were created in 2008, so more than 8 years of existence. The ultimate goal of creation of these Nazarbayev intellectual schools was to widespread the best practices to regular schools in Kazakhstan. Currently, there are 20 schools, and they offer the best high-quality secondary education in the country possible. They have the best teachers, and they have the best students. This great idea transformed into state educational policy that treats unequally students. And we see unequal distribution of the financial resources. For instance, for this year, Nazarbayev intellectual schools, they consume 7% of the state budget. At the same time, the students of the Nazarbayev intellectual schools, they constitute less than half of the percent of the whole population of the students in Kazakhstan. So it's more than 16 times difference. Unequal distribution not only in financial terms, but also in human resources. If we compare salaries, starting salaries in Nazarbayev intellectual schools for expats, the starting annual salary is around $50,000 US. At the same time, young teachers at regular schools, they earn less than $3,000 US per annum. So we see this huge difference, and the data is shocking. And regarding student-teacher ratio, there is 3 times difference. In Nazarbayev schools, there are 5 students per 1 teacher, and in regular schools, more than 16. And it's worth mentioning that there is not only, it's not counting the administrative staff that working on the paperwork. In regular schools, teachers, they do a lot of things beside the school. They do some paperwork, and they are organizing children for some events. And in my research, I'm using 3 indicative cases of the graduates of different types of schools. And the first case is a rural area school graduate. So usually they pursue a career as a blue-collar worker, and they reside in the closest largest city, in the regional capitals. And mostly they achieve the highest level of education they achieve is a secondary education. Of course, it's not a rule. There are some examples that the students from the rural areas From ordinary schools, they achieve a PhD degree and so on, but the overall tendency is like that. Second case, it's urban regular school graduate. They are mostly white-collar workers in national companies. They reside either on Astana or Almaty, two larger cities in Kazakhstan, and they achieve bachelor's degree, mostly from the local universities. And the third case, it's elite school graduate. They reside in Astana in Almaty or overseas, or spend substantial time abroad. They achieve a master's degree, usually from the foreign universities, and they are white-collar workers in international organizations. So we see that the graduates of different types of the secondary education institutions pursue all the same path. My recommendations are to readjust state educational budget in favor of regular schools, because I think the current situation is not sustainable, it's not efficient, and it's not fair. The second recommendation is a comprehensive dispersion of the elite school best practices and common usage of the infrastructure that already built for these elite schools. Of course, these elite schools, they offer some trainings for regular schools teachers. They provide some support for them, but it's not enough. Every child in Kazakhstan should have a right to use this elite schools infrastructure for their well-being. And implementing these recommendations will make our state educational policy more fair, in my opinion. Thank you.